Welcome to Her Own Boss, the podcast and community designed to help you find your inner entrepreneur. Her Own Boss is created by Anissa, Ben, Sarah, Lucy, Nikki, and me, Megan, as we start our careers and learn from the inspiring women who can help us along the way.
Hey everyone, this is your host Nikki, and today I'm joined again by the amazing Tiwa Ogunlesi. Tiwa is a globally recognized life coach, international speaker, positive psychology specialist, and the founder of Confident and Killing It. In this minisode, Tiwa tells us what confidence means to her and shares some incredible tips to help us all build a positive, confident mindset and block out the negative thoughts that hold us back. Enjoy!
This minisode was sponsored by Barclays Eagle Labs. Eagle Labs is on a mission to increase the number of female founders in the UK by providing access to the networks, mentors, and co-working spaces needed to help innovators and businesses thrive. Search Barclays Eagle Labs to find out more.
Hey Tiwa, welcome back.
Hi, glad to be back.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Awesome. So I am especially excited for this mini-sode. I have been listening to Confident and Killing It a lot recently, and then I was re-listening to it last weekend to get ready for these mini-sodes. And yeah, to me, you're like the queen of confidence, so I'm so excited about this.
Thank you.
So we've talked about confidence quite a few times on the podcast. We talk about it a lot in terms of like people's personal experiences in the main episodes. And then in our mini-sodes, we've covered stuff like imposter syndrome and finding your values and, how to stop apologizing. And I think all of those are really good skills to help you build your confidence. But one thing in particular that I've learned from you is that confidence is a mindset, and it's a lot about how you react to things or don't react to things. So I think that's really what we want to get into here, how to sort of build that mindset. And normally I only ask this question on main episodes, but I will kick myself if I don't ask you. So I just want to start off by asking, what gives you confidence, and, what does confidence mean to you?
Confidence is like an in-depth belief in yourself and your abilities. And it's that ability to, even when you don't feel like it, to still believe in yourself and bet on yourself because you know you are capable of doing what you want to do and you know you are worthy of it as well. So that's what being confident really means to me. What gives me confidence? I give myself confidence. My confidence comes from within. Obviously, like support from my family has been a big booster in my confidence. Like I have the most incredible parents who are always cheering me on, my community, things like that. So yes, definitely people around me give me confidence, but they add to what's already there.
Yeah, no, that's a really good answer. And one thing that I've heard you say a couple of times that really stood out to me is that like you matter just because you exist. And I think that for me was a huge confidence boost, because you don't even necessarily need to do anything and have anything extra to have confidence. We should all just have it by nature.
Yeah, it's actually a choice because I was one of the most insecure teenagers ever. My mind was a mess. It was super negative. All that was playing around in my head was, I'm not good enough. I'm not skinny enough. I'm not talented enough. Like I literally thought there was nothing special about me because my brother was like great on instruments and he was a musician, and my sister was an artist and she could paint and, create like design clothes and stuff. And I was like, ooh, what's Tiwa good at? Like school? That's so boring. I suck, right? So my whole teenage life, I was just telling myself that I sucked and I was a boring person. Now, how do I go from that to being a confidence coach where I'm empowering women all over the world to love and believe in themselves? It was literally just a wake up moment that I had where I realized that I matter simply because I exist, not because I have any extra talents, not because of the color of my skin or my gender, where I was born, how much money I have. The fact that I am alive and I exist means that I matter. And also my faith played a lot in building that confidence. So I'm a Christian and I really believe in, what God says about me and who he created me to be. And that kind of faith really kind of grounded me in my worth, and so I think it's a universal truth that every single human being matters simply because they are alive and they're breathing, and your worth is intrinsic. No one can take your worth away from you. It is inbuilt. Once I learned that truth, and once I learned the power of my mind, and I had the power of choice to program my mind to work for me, I was like, right, let's get to it. Where are the tools? How do I do this? If I know there is something I can do to make my life better, I'm going to do it. It's so simple. I'm not going to make excuses. I am just going to go and do it because I know who I want to become. And I know there are certain things I need to do to become that woman. And so I'm not going to feel sorry for myself that my mind is super negative. I'm going to use the power of choice that I have to change it. Simple. And so that's literally what I did when I realized that I don't have to believe these lies about myself, that I am talented and I am beautiful enough and I am good enough. I was like, I'm going to create my own truth that makes me feel good. And that's exactly what I did.
I love that. I completely agree. And I feel like I want to listen to you saying that every morning when I wake up, just to give me that confidence. Because even hearing you, I like feel so energized.
Oh, amazing. Well, you absolutely can. So
Yeah, exactly. It's recorded now. So
yeah,
that's on repeat. It'll be my alarm when I wake up.
amazing.
Cool. So I guess one of the biggest threats to our confidence then is having negative thoughts. And so what are some of the ways that we can challenge these thoughts and put them into perspective?
The first question you have to ask yourself is what you're believing about yourself facts or is it an assumption you're making? Because so many people, oh my gosh, what if I start this new job and they think I'm a fraud? What if they ask me a question and I can't answer it? What if people don't like the content that I put out? Do you know for a fact, 100% fact, that people are not going to like the content you put out, or you're going to start a new job and they're going to think you're a fraud? No, you're making an assumption of something in the future that hasn't even happened yet. So you've got to ask yourself, is this 100% facts or am I making an assumption that is not serving me? If you are making an assumption about something that's not serving you, guess what? Make a different assumption, right? Why would you go into your future and think of the worst possible outcome that is not even certain is going to happen? That just does not make any sense. So instead, go into your future and envision what you actually want to happen. Right when lockdown happened and I lost all my business, my mind was playing this image of a graph that was going January, February up, March up, and then after March everything came crashing down to like zero. And my mind was just telling me, that's it, that's the end, go get another job somewhere, go start looking for jobs. And I had to check myself and say, okay, is this the story I want for myself? No. What is the story I want? I want my story to be that lockdown happened and I didn't give up and I made, the most money I've ever made. I've seen the most growth in my business and I've ever done. I'm building a community of amazing women. And that is exactly what happened because I visualized the outcome that I wanted. So if you are making a false assumption, then change the assumption to something that feels good rather than a bad one. Next question you have to ask yourself is this belief sabotaging me or is it empowering me? When you think, I'm going to walk into this office and everyone's going to think I'm a fraud, does that take you closer to the woman or man you want to become, to your goals, or does that take you further away? If a thought or belief takes you further away from who you want to become and it sabotages you, bin it. Literally, write it on a piece of paper, rip it up, and throw it in the bin because that's where it belongs.
I love that.
And I do this all the time in workshops. I get people to write down their limiting beliefs, rip it up, and literally throw it in the bin. On another piece of paper, write down the empowering belief, right? So if the lie is, oh, I'm going to go into my office or I'm going to start my new job and they're going to think I'm a fraud. The truth is, I'm going to start my new job and they hired me for a reason. So I'm going to step into my skills and my talents and I'm going to kill it at my new job. Right? Because actually that's more factual than they're going to think you're an imposter. Why would they hire an imposter? Makes no sense. Okay. If it sabotages you, bin it. If it empowers you, run with it. And then the third thing is, would you speak to a friend like that? Would you ever say to a friend, oh my gosh, you're a fraud. Like you're going to start this new job and they're going to know that you have no idea what you're doing. You would never, ever say that to a friend because that is so harsh. I'm like, oh my gosh, like that is so mean. Like, why would anyone even say that? But we think these things to ourselves all the time. So you have to learn to be your own friend and show yourself the compassion you show everybody else. Why does everyone else get to be great at their job apart from you? Why does everyone else get to be worthy of good things in life apart from you? You are just as worthy as everything you want for your friends and your family. So give it to yourself, right? Be kind to yourself and be your own friend.
I love that. I think that last one about would you say it to a friend is so important, because some of the things that we say to ourselves and the thoughts we let ourselves think, if that was said out loud to someone else, you would step in and be like, whoa, don't talk to my friend that way.
Yeah, don't be your own mean girl in your mind. Like, no, you got to get sassy and challenge it. I remember this one time I was speaking to a room of like 50 women. They had all come for a Confident and Killing It event like 2 years ago. And as I was speaking, everyone was kind of looking at me in quite intensely because I guess they were listening to what I was saying. And my mind was going, oh my gosh, look at all their faces. They're bored. You need to shut up right now. You need to shut up. You need to shut up. You need to end this event and like let everyone go home. You've been keeping them for too long. And I was like, wait a hot minute. I was like, hang on a second. People have paid to come to this event. They have paid to hear her speak. She has been flown all over the world to speak at events, okay? She has gotten feedback that her words are impactful and powerful. So you need to shut up and get to the back so she can finish this event in peace. And that's literally the conversation that was going on in my mind when I was speaking to a room of women about owning their story and owning their worth. So, I think it's important to mention that negative thoughts never disappear. Your mind is a battlefield and your thoughts will always be kind of at each other. But the aim is to dial down the volume of the negative thoughts and dial up the volume of the positive thoughts.
Yeah, and that's a great segue into my next question, which is how, even in the absence of negative thoughts, how can we maintain sort of regular positivity and kind of keep those positive thoughts top of mind?
Positivity is a practice. So I have a specialization in positive psychology, and positive psychology was created because traditional psychologists only studied pain and depression and anxiety, and no one ever studied happiness. But there's actually a science to happiness, and there are five pillars to happiness that if you work on these five things, you will be happy and fulfilled and be energized and motivated in your life. And so the first one is around your positive emotions. And are you learning to process your emotions, or are you bottling everything in? When you get angry, do you lash out on people, or do you take a step-by-step approach and feel what needs to be felt and then begin the process of moving forward? The next pillar has to do with engagement. Are you doing the things that set your heart on fire? A lot of the times we feel empty in life because we're not honoring our values. There is something you want to be doing right now, but you're not creating the time to do it. And that's going to affect your happiness and well-being. So make sure that you feel alive, you get into the flow, you feel engaged and energized in your life, and then motivation is never an issue for you. Then it goes on to relationships. Relationships is a fundamental pillar to our well-being. You've got to have healthy relationships. You've got to be surrounded by people who support you and who love you and who encourage you. And that also makes you feel good, right? Investing in your relationships is key. And then meaning. So having a sense of meaning and purpose in your life. Do you feel like you're here and you're working towards something that's bigger than yourself? Or is your life literally just all about you and you're just in your own bubble? Often people who feel fulfilled and happy and excited in life is because they're doing something bigger than themselves. So on the days when you feel like giving up, all I need to do is just go through my feedback and see all the different messages women have shared with me. And all of a sudden I'm like, wow, like this is bigger than my fear. This is bigger than any insecurity. So I need to show up today. And then lastly, being able to celebrate yourself. And this is something women struggle with a lot. We think confidence is often arrogance and we want to hide away and play the humble card and like, oh, I don't talk about myself, And it's just like, no, if you are killing it in life, if you are winning, own your accomplishments. People see me and they're like, Tiwa, I see you doing it. And that shows me I can do it too. And I'm like, yes, exactly. That's what I want, for my confidence to be an oasis of hope to other women, because they see me and they're like, if she can do it, I can do it too. If I hid away in a closet thinking, oh, I can't be too confident because it will make other people feel uncomfortable, Confident and Killing It would not exist. And the impact I would have had would not exist. So those are like the 5 things that you can do consistently and the habits that you can create to build happiness and well-being for yourself and confidence on a long-term basis.
That's amazing. I think, yeah, all of those things are so true and so important, and probably stuff that I need to be doing more. First of all, dialing down the negative thoughts, challenge them, but then just building positivity. It's not just about keeping the negativity away. You have to build that positivity. And then I think going back to what we kind of said at the start, just reminding myself that I matter simply because I exist. And, I don't need to think of other reasons to be confident or to be happy. That should be enough.
Exactly.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Tiwa. This has been amazing.
It was such a great conversation. Thank you for having me.
Honestly, anytime. I've loved it. Thank you.
We hope you've enjoyed season 3 of Her Own Boss. We are so excited to start planning for season 4, but until then, find all of our previous episodes here or on herownboss.co.uk. And be sure to follow us on Instagram and LinkedIn at Her Own Boss Podcast.